Nation. This is Empower Her Money podcast. I am your host, Angela Duncan. I am a money coach, and every week we bring to you a new business owner, a new female who is making an impact in her industry, learning all things about business and finance. I grew up not knowing anything about money, and so this is my opportunity to give back to our audience and to other women as we go through this journey, empowering other women about money and finance. So awesome, Dahlia. Welcome today to the podcast. Thank you for giving us some time. And I'm very interested to hear your story and kind of how you got started on your journey and what you're doing today to impact other people.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So I started off, I've been doing insurance for close to almost 10 years now. And it's actually a really funny story how it landed in my lap. I've been in sales pretty much my whole life. I started off with entertainment, event and TV production. And I was in between jobs for my events. And my friend asked me to go with her on an interview. And I went with her, and out of nowhere, my friend comes out and he's the owner of the company. Make a long story short, I got my license and it's been a wrap ever since. And since then, I've been in this 10 years, but it hasn't been easy. A lot of people look at insurance, they think of it, it's, just the boring old guy, with the suitcase going door to door. But it's been a roller coaster, and it's definitely got me to where I am today with my experience. I've gotten to a point where I was like, if this is insurance, I don't want no part of it. And then it got me to the point where I'm like, I actually found myself and what I'm good at, my niches, and I created my own company.
Yeah, that's awesome. As you know, I used to do insurance, different lines, property, casualty insurance, and I definitely wasn't passionate about it. So I can understand where you're coming from that perspective. What kind of changed your mindset from where you were to where you are now? And now that you actually enjoy what you're doing, tell me about that.
Yeah, so I think it was the experience. So when you work in these insurance companies, especially at entry level or whatnot, you're basically like an order taker. You're in a call center with other people, and you just go through the motions. You read a script, you go through the motions, and you make a paycheck. And back then, when you're young and you just don't have the experience and you don't know the industry, you don't know what's out there. So after seeing and then meeting people, that's what really got me to it, because in this industry, like many professions, it's all about networking. And I think that's what separated myself from other people who were used to just punching in and punching out the clock. I kind of always knew I wanted more for myself. And when I started reading and speaking to clients, it took me to the next level of my career. So I would work for another company, and this one would be, more corporate structured. I would now basically have a nicer office or more of a staff, more of a team I can work with, and more quality products. And, slowly but surely, I would start to speak to other people higher net worth, more successful, that have been doing this longer. And that just slowly graduated to where I am now. And basically after learning, it's not just a one-stop shop. I can make this, a whole business and a career. I decided to go out on my own and replicate that from those who have done it before me.
Right. So you're in health insurance. And a lot of times when people think about health insurance, I do get the picture of you being on like this huge call center, all these dividers, everyone's on the phone, like calling people. But obviously you figured out a way to be able to have the freedom to work from home, to work remotely. Talk about the difference in that transition from when you did go to that call center. And if someone wanted to go down this field, what advice could you give them so that they can get to the place where they have that freedom to be able to work remotely like you're doing now?
Yeah. So what makes the difference between the call center mentality to where I am now is accountability. Because in the call center mentality, don't get me wrong, it works for some people, but for me, it was a comfort zone, and I needed to get out of that comfort zone. And this basically took it to another step, another phase where I realized with my marketing background, I needed to implement that. I needed to bring in my background of marketing, meeting people, traveling, you name it. And I decided I got licensed all over the country. I'm licensed in 30 states. I joined networking groups. I do my social media also. And I travel to other states because I realized it's not just a one call close phone call. Meeting people, seeing the demographic when it comes to health insurance, it really expands. It changes your view of not just being an agent. You really become an advisor. So I say to somebody who wanted to transition from being a call center, really ask yourself, is this something that, not to put all your eggs in one basket, but if you want to pursue this, do you have the accountability of yourself? Because you have to prospect your own leads. You have to make sure, you either dial, buy leads, network, you name it, and really put yourself out there. And you have to constantly keep up with industry trends, what's going on in the industry, as far as regulation and laws or whatnot. And then also, like I said, be accountable as far as the finance side, because of course, in a perfect world, you have people that either change plans or no longer your clients or move around. And if you're upside down, that's not a good look also financially. So it's really just becoming your own brand too.
Very nice. And I like how you put in that accountability piece. Me being a money coach and a finance coach, I oftentimes will have clients that are female business owners. And when you do work from home, nobody's watching you.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that personality where you're going to keep going and going and going, it's good to hire a coach sometimes to be able to help you be accountable, set goals, and kind of to be your cheerleader along the way too. So even if you're not the type that can always motivate yourself, self-motivate, you can still be successful in this industry with the right people. So what kind of networking do you find works best for you?
Yeah, so I love networking events. My local events, there's business to business ones, there's local ones that I see in the Chamber of Commerce, and they'll host it at bars or, restaurants or whatnot. I personally I'm part of BNI. Where I met you at. So that was that's a great chapter I'm part of. They're all over the country, and even other networking events too. But the biggest thing that I've learned also is, which takes out the fear and the shyness, is just meeting anybody that you see along the streets, whether you're out to dinner and you're speaking to the waiter or the table next to you or somebody that you're in line with or whatnot. You never know who you meet who might need that, as well as when you're at social or functioning events, or whatnot. Same exact thing. Networking, as far as it goes, I love conventions or events that are being hosted in my city. So for example, like financial wealth events, real estate events, connecting with like-minded industries that are self-employed or also need a prospect, and you learn from each other as well.
Yeah, and that's awesome. One of the things I like to do, because I'm also a huge networking, I'm not the most extrovert person, but I do have to force myself, right, to go talk to people. And one of the things I like to do is I take a photo with that person and I text it to them with my information so that I can remember what they look like. Because I'll look, you go to so many events sometimes and you see, oh, I know that person, but I don't remember their name. So
exactly.
Now I can go and back and look at it, and then that's how I remember people. Tell us, what is a misconception you hear often, maybe from your clients, when it comes to health insurance plans, or health insurance rates? What do you hear from people that you're like, no, that's just not true?
Number one thing, it's a scam. They're all they just want your money and that's it or whatnot. I mean, don't get me wrong, every business obviously is for profit in a way. And I hear it all the time with insurance. And that's the difference between when I first started insurance to now, is that I was working for the insurance company. I wasn't, not that I didn't have the best interest for my client, but I didn't have any other choices to get them. Now, as a broker and I represent the client, I could shop around. I could easily say, you know what, this carrier, isn't so great. That one's just not doing great this year. Let's go with this one. So I think for me, it's the misconception that they're all the same across the board. It's like a cookie cutter, but it's not. And having a broker versus somebody who just represents one company allows you to customize that plan, allows you to find something that fits your needs and your budget as well. Because at the end of the day, just like homeowners or car insurance, especially with your health, you need it. You want to keep in your back pocket and hope you never have to use it. But if you have it, thank goodness you do, because you don't want it. I've seen it left and right. I have people calling me crying where they can't get insurance, or it's too expensive, or they're left with these $100,000 bills from not having it as well.
Yeah, and that's good information to know that not everybody can understand is when someone's calling you about insurance, health insurance, asking them, do you work for X company, or are you an insurance broker? Because that will really differentiate, like you said, how many availability different carriers that they have access to that might be a better fit for their needs than just that company itself.
Exactly.
So that's really good information. If you could start over in this industry, would you still be doing what you're doing now?
Yeah, I really do think I would, because I see what really brought it out is the caring side. And it actually really made me, so I graduated with my undergrad in sociology. I see that come out more than anything, more, than the sales side, because it really helps me learn more about people, especially speaking to people all over the country, because it's so different from somebody speaking that I speak to in, Texas versus California to, Virginia or Florida. So, their needs are different. Some of my clients, they have to travel 20, 30 miles to get to their nearest hospital or doctor or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So, or their industry that they work in as well. So learning about people and just hearing their stories is one of the things that I really love. And it makes me really pull out the heartstrings and care more. So I feel like I'm more in the caring business.
Yeah, I love that too. And I think sometimes we forget that we live in this incredible country where we do have, experienced doctors in the hospitals that we can go to. And we do have access to health insurance. Now, it can be expensive for some people, but imagine if it wasn't there.
Yeah.
Or if we didn't have the type of care that we have available here. I hear crazy stories from other countries. So I'm definitely grateful for that. All right, so I have a fun question for you.
Okay.
If you could pick a superpower or super strength, what would that be, and why would you choose it?
Ooh, I like that question. I'd probably say I've always wanted to be like that fly on the wall, not really a fly, but I would probably maybe want to be like invisible or read people's minds. I would say.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Reading people's minds would be interesting, but at the same time, I would be like, did you just think that,
I'm an overthinker. It's kind of the Virgo in me. So to kind of hear what they're thinking would calm down the mind a little bit, but
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. To be able to hear what they're thinking in an environment which they may not know that you're there, and then you can share those great thoughts with everybody else.
Yeah, kind of be like a invisible, like a super woman hero, and come to the rescue in case of anything.
Yeah, I like that. Awesome, Dahlia. If our clients or if our audience wants to get in touch with you and learn more either about becoming a health insurance agent, starting their own company, or how they can shop their rates, since you are licensed in many, many states, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so basically, you can call me at either number. You can call me at 561-840-5499 or 954-804-2132. And I think I actually I'll show it on the screen here, just so it's a little bit easier. It is my contact card if it shows up. So my email is going to be the coveragecorner1@gmail.com and then the coveragecorner.com as well.
Awesome, Dahlia. Thank you so much for sharing that information. Hopefully our audience has learned a little bit about being a health insurance agent and that we can shop around, save some money for everyone who's listening. Make sure you guys are shopping your rates. So
Thank
I'm
you so much
Angela.
for having me. I appreciate it. And I look forward to helping as well.
Awesome. I'm Angela Duncan with Empower Her Money. Keep tuning in. And if you learned something from this episode, please do share it with other people as we continue our journey in empowering women and helping them save money.
Bye-bye.